Noted folk artist Cher Shaffer has been working mixed media magic for over 50 years. We travel to Kindred Art Gallery in the Rosemary House Bed and Breakfast in Pittsboro, North Carolina to learn more.
Chers Shaffer, it's so good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, when I think of artwork and I think of folk art, it's hard not to think about Chers Shaffer.
Well, that's a very kind thing for you to say. I appreciate that. I've been doing it for over 50 years.
Let's talk about why you're a folk artist.
Oh.
How did it all start?
Well, I will tell you a quick story that involves my dear mother. I grew up in Georgia on a farm, and her folks were sharecroppers from Mississippi. They were of mixed blood. They were Cherokee Indian and Melungeon. My grandmother was Melungeon. And my father was German and Cherokee. So I come from a background of people who were always connected to the earth. They were agricultural people, and they were actually indigenous people. I was born when she was 19, and she was a very kind person, always would listen to anything that we wanted to tell her, no matter how fantastical it was.
Right.
But as a kid, about 8 years old, I knew that red clay in Georgia could be shaped into magical little things. My sister and I made dolls with it, we made dishes with it, and gathering it was part of the fun, and then making the objects was the rest of the fun. Well, I began to look around me and see things that I thought could be made into things. We didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't have a lot of toys, and I was the oldest sister. So I wanted to do things for my siblings that they could play with, and I would make little dolls or little houses or all kinds of things for them out of twigs, out of that red clay in Georgia, which is a beautiful thing. And we pretty much used what we had at hand. And so I learned very early on to use materials that I had around me. Quickly, I learned at around 20 years old that I could do paintings, and I was doing paintings on stones, I was doing paintings on wood, and I was going to little sort of roadside fairs, because at that point in Georgia, there were no big art fairs. And I was going to these little fairs and selling those things, and as soon as I realized that I could make as much money selling a few little pieces of art on a weekend as I could make working a full 5-day week, I became hardcore unemployable.
Nobody could convince you then there was a better way.
Absolutely not. No. And there's a sense of fulfillment that I get when I have finished a piece of artwork.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
I witnessed your painting class earlier. And as you were telling your stories, I saw a look of fascination. That's the best way to describe it. Do you find that people are genuinely fascinated?
I do, and I think it comes from a need to feel a belonging back to your kin and back to the earth that we're all part of.
Let's talk about folk art. There are many different types of art. Art is described in different ways. What is folk art?
I'll give you my short definition. Art of the people. It's art that expresses a time, a place, a group of people. Folk art is art of the common people most of the time. I guarantee you I'm not common, but it is art that I have learned to express my upbringing, my heritage, and my very inner soul through. Being self-taught has been a journey, and anytime I needed to know how to do something, there was always somebody there to teach me. I think that's magic, don't you?
It's certainly something.
Yes, it is.
That's for sure.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
We have these grand paintings like the ones behind you, but you have the smaller people that you do and animals.
Yes.
I remember seeing I think it was a rabbit that looked so happy.
Absolutely.
Your spring rabbit. He was.
Who wouldn't be happier than a rabbit in the springtime? Yeah.
That's true.
I am a creature of habit.
Okay.
And I like to do certain things that keep me connected to the earth. And one of the things during the summer that I take great joy from is that I can paint outside. I can be outdoors and paint under a shed or under a tree. And I have a creek by my house. And I am always listening to that creek. It's like music in your life with anything. Go find yourself someplace where you can sit and look at a stream. That stream has a pathway, and it's following it faithfully. And you just watch it. We learn from nature.
So your purpose is to bring happiness.
My purpose is to bring happiness. My purpose is to continue traditions. My purpose is to inspire.
What do you hope happens when people purchase one of your pieces and take them to their home? What do you hope that does for them?
The main thing I hope is that they feel complete and total joy with what they have of mine, and that they connect with it on a deep level so that it becomes more than an object, so that it becomes a part of their family, so that it becomes a part of their everyday living, and that every time they look at it, they again will remember there are wonderful things. Art is something that is meant to bring richness into a person's life. And that's what I hope when people have my work in their homes.
What a wonderful thing. Tell me why places like this, the Rosemary House, the Kindred Gallery, Jamie and Heather, why is this relationship, why is this place, why are these people so important?
This house has a beautiful soul, and part of that beautiful soul has been taken care of and brought back to life by the Busters. And they are solid, good people. And they are tending to the people that come here as they would to their families. And this house it's a very comfortable, loving place. We are spiritual beings. We were born spiritual beings.
Thank you, Cher Shaffer.
You're welcome.
That's wonderful.